Greetings, my name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, those interested in surviving as a Pilates instructor or in core new tension. I just have two things today, even though it was a whole weekend gone by. I just have two things, and it's just a quick summary or a restatement of what Michael Miller is responsible for, or two things that I identified. That's all I care about professionally, because to me they're the two most important things, and if you come away with your understanding of Michael Miller as he's the guy that identified core new tension in the body, and he's the guy that identified the ideal within Joe's original work. In my own mind, and perhaps it's of course delusional, but that's how I see my profession within my simulation. I profess those two things. And both of them are sensational. You can feel it. So number two is that the idea is to accomplish a feeling, to make the ideal real. And what is the feeling? There's no mystery here. It's a very simple, pure, biological reaction to the physics that it finds itself in. Meaning the choreography of Joe, his definition, his promise, and his sequence, right? To me, the idea within that allows you to accomplish a feeling, so it's not just intellectual, it's a literal interpretation of Joe's definition of complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit. And from this point of view, from the point of view of MMP, from an ideal point of view of Pilates, at least the MMP one takes spirit to be observing, listening, concentrating, but more than thinking. It's not concentrating like thinking. It's being connected to me, my interpretation, the sensation that's coming into you as a human being, beyond the thinking that's going on in your forehead. So you have being, you have thinking, and you have observing. And whatever observing is, it's like not thinking. Thinking is like an internal electrical storm, right? And observing is taking in input in addition to the thinking. And so, in the point of view of MMP, the ideal that you're after is an experience, is a feeling. And the feeling is complete coordination of body, mind, and spirit. So much of Pilates is beyond the scope of that point of view. But to me, having an ideal point of view can aid you to survive as a Pilates instructor. And so, know the distinction between the two things that are my profession. One is about biomechanics. It points to core new tension. And the other is about the ideal within Joe's work. In one, there's only one point of view. In the other, there's the 10,000 points of view. For me, meaning that core new tension is just pointing to the fact of the biology accomplishing the physics. And that means that the body can make rotational dynamic and play one off of the other to make alignment sensational and to distribute load more evenly. And the other is one of 10,000 views of whatever you wish Pilates to be, because you can make believe it's anything you wish. And everyone already does. And I make believe there's an ideal within Joe's work, and that helps me make sense of everyone else's view of Pilates as well. Okay. Know what you know is where this ends up as a broadcast. Know what you know. It boggles my mind how many more people are now doing Pilates and teaching Pilates and certifying people in Pilates and having them join unions and become in all of that growth of Pilates, the bulk of it, most of it, or all of it, except this little sliver of it, this view of an ideal, is based in tradition. And my brain wants me to continue to say, that's all fine and dandy, except that if there is an essence to Joe's original work, then that defines yourself as a Pilates instructor if you're instructing toward that essence. I don't mean to be real abstract with this, just what does it mean to be a Pilates instructor? I know that, hands down cold, I can describe that in great detail, because I can describe what I think Pilates is, and that it's an experience, and that there's a means to getting to that experience, and I know how to employ that means to bring about the experience. Regardless of whatever intellectual intrusion may come. Meaning people that want to make more of it in their minds by taking it mentally somewhere, just like people that come more to it with their bodies want to make more of it from their body's perspective, and just like people that observe a lot want to make it all about observing. Although there aren't many like that, I don't think. Because it's the capacity in the human being that's required for the experience. And no matter what else you know about Pilates, and whoever else you study, and whatever kind of intellectualization you want to make of Pilates, all of that comes downstream from the experience itself. And for me, to you, in the clarity of understanding your role as an instructor, to bring about that experience, and beyond that, to turn over autonomy to creating that experience, you will have, oh man, clients students that remember you well because you set them free. And what do I mean by that? Nothing big, nothing deep, just free in the understanding that there's an ideal within Joe's work. And the best MMP can express it is in the definition, word for word, uniform eccentric loading flowing through progressive patterns of movement. And to the extent that you can recite that definition word for word, just like you can recite Joe's definition word for word, it gives you that much more credibility to make believe Pilates is whatever you want. Know what you know. Know how know what you know, but don't share what you know unless someone really wants to know what you know. Because there's a large bulk of the culture that has no interest in knowing what you know. There's me and there's you and the cockatoo. And none of us can live forever, because life can't live forever. Read between the lines. See behind the curtain. Add two and two. Direct your thinking. Geist.